It's really sad that we go through life trying to fix mistakes. I mean, I hardly know any adults that are actually not going through a process of fixing things that had gone wrong. I hardly know any man, any woman that is living their life to the fullest, in the fullest sense of things, in a family, in a partnership that actually is about building. I know a few individuals that are actually living their best lives, but most of the teams, the partnerships, man and wife, girl and boyfriend, are struggling to make ends meet, are struggling to live peacefully, are struggling to actually live with each other. I'm saying this because I've come to realize that we make certain decisions while we are younger, while we know less, while we have less, while we understand less. These decisions come to haunt us. This by no means says being older makes you a better person to do better decisions. It just means that the lack of experience and the lack of understanding, and even the lack of knowledge of self, it's something that we need to really take note of. Most of the families that I've seen, most of the cultures, most of the races, most of the how should I put, the ethnic groups that I've seen that actually seem to have a collective understanding of their roles, a collective understanding of their purpose, seem to be more, likely to actually do well, to have more, to grow more, to have longer lasting relationships and families, as opposed to the ones that are actually, integrations. It's all good and well that you want to be married, or you want to date somebody out of your race, you want to be married, or you want to date somebody out of your culture or your tradition, or a Tswana marrying a Venda or a Tsonga. It's all good, but have we really looked at how far these relationships have gone? There's quite a few, a handful that have been successful, but that has got nothing to do with the cultures and all that. It's got not something to do probably with the values that each of the individuals actually bring to the relationship. And how do we then leave our children, leave our young ones to actually make certain decisions? I tell you how. We are broken as people. We are broken. The adults are broken. The mothers are broken. The fathers are broken. So there are certain things that we need to be trying to teach our children. We need to be imparting the knowledge and the know-how with our children. Yet we do not, because we're still battling with with the brokenness. We're still battling with our pain. But I promise you, if we invest a little bit more, just a little bit more into our children, educating them, there's this in the cultures I understand, your Ndebeles, your Tsongas, your Tswanas, where when one gets married, on the day of the marriage, on the day of the wedding, actually, of the festivities, there is something called holaya, where they sort of sit the young man down or the young girl down, and they give them sort of advice. I believe that's too little too late. I believe that's a useless practice at this point in time, unless it is symbolic of what has been going on in the children's lives. If it's symbolic of what the young woman has gone through, the coaching they've gone through, if it's symbolic of what the young man has gone through, the coaching they've gone through, then it's fine. Let's do it. But if that's the only time that the uncle and the aunt would actually show interest in the child's well-being and impart information, that is so wrong. That is so useless. We need to move away from that. You need to coach your child from day one. The day your child is born, you need to be coaching them. We need to be coaching them in the right way, in the right principles. The first cry, you need to manage that cry and not let the cry manage you. Because then what happens is, from the time that the child is born and they manage you with a cry as a parent, sooner or later they'll be managing you with a cry when they decide they want to go and have a boyfriend who is from such and such a place, or who is such and such a tribe, or who is such and such a race, and you fall for it. I mean, they are entitled to make their own decisions, but are they empowered? Have you empowered them as a parent? Have you empowered them as an uncle, as an aunt, as a grandfather, to actually make those decisions? Are we empowering our children and setting them up for success? Or are we coming there as a symbolic gesture to marry them off, without even the full understanding. I mean, what happens in some of the cultures is that when the marriage happens, the elders come together, the uncles and the aunts and all of that. There's an entourage, but that entourage is supposed to be the same structure that supports this family, this union. But if you don't even know this child, you've never even spent time with this child, why are you even there? Because afterwards, this child is not going to come to you for advice. This child is not going to come to you for help. You're only going to be called in to sort of doze away the fires. So we need to be really realistic about what we do, what we expect out of these practices, and build up. Let's build these families. Let's build these communities. Let's build this country. What we see at political level, what we see at business level is what was started in families. We really need to make sure that we heal. And once we are healed, we make the right choices and the right decisions. We raise our children correctly, give them the right choices and the right decisions, equip them in such a way that when they are adults and they have to make their own choices and decisions, they at least have what we have handed to them and are not just shooting blanks and shooting in the dark. We need to really fix this country. We need to fix this world. But for us to fix it, for us to fix corruption, for us to fix abuse, for us to fix abandonment of children, for us to fix molestation and rape of young girls and boys, we need to look at where it all starts. And yes, we can blame the devil all we want. But hey, sometimes I always say, look at exactly what is it you're asking for. And try and find out what is it that makes you want that thing. Is it perhaps the devil that says you must ask for a car because they know that you'll always be on the road? That particular car, you'll always find some way to go to get on the bike and go to a certain grouping of people who are up to no good. Why do you want that particular house in that particular suburb? Doesn't perhaps the lack of understanding actually lead to you being indebted? The debt that is not necessary, simply because instead of chasing your dreams, you're chasing what the devil has put in front of you. Just my thoughts.